United States of America,
and to the
and to the
republic
republic for which it stands, one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, liberty,
liberty, and
justice
justice
for
for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of our veterans, servicemen and women, and those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. Councilor Kamel, did you have a moment of silence before we sit?
Yes, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for one of our constituents, George Bears, one of our residents at 630 Salem, a wonderful man and just a wonderful member of our community that that passed away and will be sorely, sorely missed.
Oh. You may be seated. Clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Anderson here.
Mel.
Mel here.
Condon.
London here.
Crow.
Here.
DeMaria.
Maria here.
Linehan.
Linehan here.
Murphy.
Murphy here.
O'Malley.
O'Malley here.
Spatafora.
Spatafora here.
Winslow.
Winslow here.
Sika.
Speaker here.
Everyone's here.
First order of business. Oh, excuse me. I apologize. Under the provisions of the open meeting law, for those of you in attendance, please be informed that MATV, along with the city of Malden, and John Mayara is on here. So I would assume he's recording this evening's meeting. Again, there will be audio and video recording of this evening's meeting. First order of business.
Paper 446-20 proclamation honoring my due for her work in response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Councilor Winslow.
Yeah, thank you. You know, this has been a very tumultuous year and a very hard time to figure out how to deal with, you know, a crisis that none of us have dealt with in our lifetime. So, and I really thought, I mean, there's so many in our community that we can thank, but I really thought it was important to call out my due for her work. So I have a proclamation on behalf of the council to recognize her work. So this is it. Whereas my due has had an instrumental role in multiple community actions that have helped keep Maldonians safe and cope with the impacts of COVID-19, including acquiring thousands of face masks early in the pandemic and distributing them to health centers, Malden housing maintenance staff, and volunteer groups to protect frontline workers and others who could not otherwise have access to such equipment. Arranging for distribution of hot meals to residents in need, offering space at our business Walam Kung Fu as a temporary warehouse for Malden Neighbor Helping Neighbor, and allowing murals to be painted at her business to help uplift the community during a difficult time. Therefore, on behalf of Council President Jadine Sika and the entire City Council, we do on this 22nd day of December in the year 2020 hereby honor my due for her exemplary service to Malden and her generous and creative spirit that has helped hundreds of Malden residents cope with and survive the pandemic. So that's the proclamation. So I ask that we all endorse that and have Mai is here to thank as well in person.
Hold on one second. I got a couple of lights. Councilor Kamel.
Just wanted to say that I wholeheartedly support this, and Sifu, it's great to see you again. We used to see each other regularly on Saturdays for my oldest son. And thank you so much for what you've done for our community. Wholeheartedly support this.
Councilor O'Malley, you're next.
Thank you, Councilor Winslow, for bringing this forward, and thank you so much for everything you do. I don't want to be redundant, but the mural that you have on your building is just so inspiring to see all of the different great characters and all of the great messages that are there. I think it was exactly what our community needed at the time that we were struggling with so many things in our community. So thank you for always being there. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilor Crowe.
Well, I will sound redundant, so I want to say congratulations, Mai. Really, you do step up every time there is something happening, and we need community support from conversations many years ago with youth and police conversations, really allowing the Malden neighbors, helping neighbors to use that space, and just really stepping up every time. So congratulations, and we appreciate all that you do.
Thank you. Councilor Linehan.
Thank you, Madam President. Like Councilor Crowe said, I'm going to be redundant, but it's worth it. Mai, you're just an inspiration. I really honestly don't know anybody who has the kind of energy and dedication that you do. It seems like every time there's a need, you're stepping up, and where others are doing work, you're always to be found in the mix. So just echo what others have said to thank you for all that you've done throughout the pandemic and really before that, and I know in the future as well. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, Mai. I'm going to say I agree with what everyone else has said, so I'm going to try not to be redundant and take it on a different track. I'm going to thank you for the legacy you're leaving by your actions to the children that you surround yourself with, and what they're going to do in the community in your name because of everything you've done. And I think that that's a legacy that's going to live on long after you, and something that many, many citizens in the city are going to be extremely proud of, and they're going to hear your name with a lot of respect. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Anderson.
Sifu Mai. Let me be the one that breaks with just calling you my do. Sifu. Yes, all the things that have been said before me. How do I top all that? I'm not even going to try. But to say that with this great city that we have, there are many great people in that city, and you certainly stand out as one who has given your all, not just for what's taken place during this pandemic, but what you've done in leading youngsters in the martial arts and in the parades and in the involvement and in bringing a community of people into the mainstream of Malden's life. So thank you for all that you do. I think we're all proud to have you as part of as part of this community, and many, many more events for you to do in the future. And I know you'll be doing them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Di Maria.
You got to unmute, Councilor Di Maria.
Thank you so much, Councilor Winslow, for bringing this wonderful resident forward to us to say thank you. Time spent together tonight, even for a few minutes, just to show our appreciation to you. You are in the face of Malden. You've brought so much joy to this community with your advocating for South Cove, with your dragon dances, with seeing you up at the State House, with your wonderful, healthy, the business that you teach our children for health and for confidence. It is your true grassroots here in Malden, and I personally thank you so much because you show through your heart. You do what you do, and it shines through your heart. And thank you so much, and appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilor Spatafora.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, to kind of go along with the rest of the council, it's hard sometimes to put into words, but you are being recognized, my due, for your actions in the COVID, but this is really just an award that kind of sums up your time here involved, and many mentioned all the endeavors you're involved in, but certainly how I look at it is you're one of those community members that does not look for the media light and always is behind closed doors doing the hard work for people. And there's only a handful of people in Malden that no matter what the situation or the ask, they always come through. And certainly you're one of the pillars of the community that recognizes and shines light. So on behalf of, I want to thank Councilwoman for doing this, but on behalf of the council, thank you for your time, for helping residents during this time, but also for all the other endeavors you've done in Malden.
Thank you. Councilor Condon.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to congratulate Mai, very well deserved. Seems as though every time there's something going on to help people, she's in the center of it, and I'm proud to know you. Thank you.
You, Councilor Murphy, do you have your hand up again? Oh, you're good. And on behalf of the chair, I want to congratulate you on this award. I think, you know, this little presentation type of thing. I think what you've done for the community is amazing. And I'm going to echo everybody else's. And I just want to say to keep up the good work. What you're doing for our residents of Malden is truly amazing. So thank you so very, very much.
Thank you.
Councilor Winslow, did you give her this citation already? Does she have it, or are we delivering it? Oh, you're muted.
I'll work to have Lisa deliver it. So,
Perfect.
yeah. On your way home, Lisa.
First citation we've given in the COVID world. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure how we've done it. So
yeah, no, we'll get it delivered. So.
All right. So we will have that to you within the next few days, hopefully. Okay. Thank you so much for all your work.
Thank you so much.
I'm so humbled.
Councilor Condon, is your hand up again?
No?
Oh, okay.
Did Mai want to say a few words, or what? Did you want to say a few words?
I would like to firstly thank you deeply from my heart, Councilor Winslow, for this nomination, bringing it to the Malden City Council, and all the very heartfelt words from every councilor here. It's I'm floored. I'm a very proud Maldonian, you know, proud graduate of Malden High School, and I built my family here, my business here. This is where my heart is. Home is where the heart is, and this is my home. Malden is my home, and I continue to be so proud of it, to watch Malden transform and grow, getting better and better each day. And as we're growing into a city that is now embracing, you know, even more complexity of you know, the diversity and their and how we make up a city from all walks of life, from all backgrounds, and how we're responding to it. I know it's not an easy task, but it is such a the energy, the people, the residents, the neighbors stepping up to the plate to make sure we do our part to really bring the city together, to unite around serving the residents, the people, around addressing inclusion and equity. With that, you know, I'm really proud to have you know, seen the circulation of the diversity position coming out yesterday. And I know there's been a lot of talk about that, but I know that's like the first step to us as a city embracing what to do and to do it right. So I want to thank the council and all those who have been behind that to get that out and to really recognize the community, that this is a need, that we're really moving towards embracing inclusion and equity, and we're really practicing the talk, walking our talk. As a Malden High graduate, like I said, just been so proud to be able to go out and say that I'm part of Malden, and Malden's my home. Malden is where I grew up and really trained my values, from the YWCA board, serving when Peg has been, you know, there, you know, working with the young people, teaching empowerment leadership and anti-racism work, to just now watching the community grow in Malden Core and all the Malden neighbors helping neighbors. I have to thank them for really utilizing the Wallum space well, and continuing to put good energy to it, good karma to the space, since we can't really use it. But in terms of this title today, it is so humbling, because as we all know, the frontline workers are really the heroes, the sheroes. It's really not me. It's never me, and it's never just one person to be recognized by such a humbling environment. you know, those medical frontline workers and our first responders, police and firefighters and teachers and so many more. Even essential workers in supermarkets and pharmacies and whatnot, they are the heroes and the sheroes. So it's really all of us, but I feel so humbled and almost so tickling and overwhelmed for this isolated acknowledgement, since we know that it is never one person or even one small group. It's really all of us, and Malden is a proud proven example of that. I have to say, it's not too big of a city, it's not too small of a city where, you know, where everybody knows everybody and we care. Like when we say we care, we truly care, because we really do know each other, and that's what's so special about Malden. And I'd like to thank everybody here for your service and for your public contribution and hard work. You know, you're there doing the meetings and the work, and I'm not. So that's what's important. And thank you so much. There's so many people on the initiative with the mask that I can't thank enough. So I'll just have to take it to Facebook and thank people in person. But thank you everybody for your kind words.
We get a group picture now, but we're on Zoom.
Yeah.
Let me get a snapshot here.
Go ahead, Steve. Let's take a snapshot.
Let's see it.
Put the phone down so it doesn't look like the phone.
Okay. Let me get a snapshot here. All right, there we go. All right, yeah. Usually we have our post reward snapshot, so that's going to be it.
Do a shout out to the mayor for doing the voting rights work right with the Asian American community last year, where we got a lot of good recognition. So thank you to Craig Lucy and Carol Ann and the mayor's team for doing all that work right to get the city at a good place, and we keep working hard to move forward as a city and a community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you for coming.
New Year.
Before we go to the next order of business, we actually have Chief on this call. I'm hoping that we'll give him a couple of minutes to address an incident that happened over the weekend. If somebody has a motion to allow him to speak.
I'll make that motion.
Seconded.
And I'll second it. Oh.
Okay, on Councilor Condon's motion to allow the chief to speak, seconded by, I think it was Councilor Kamel. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Well, yes.
Condon,
London, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
Maria, yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Pettifora,
Pettifora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika,
Zika, yes.
11-0.
Chief Mullis, you have the floor. You're muted.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Real quick, I just wanted to go over some facts about an incident that was reported in the news today. Over the weekend, Saturday afternoon, there was a 47-year-old man up at the Fellsmere Pond using the 7 bumps to snowboard, what have you. He had a lawful firearm in his possession. At some point, he lost possession of the firearm, and it was found by some children nearby. The person that lost the firearm, when he became aware of that, immediately called the police. The police had responded to Fellsmere Pond, took possession of the weapon, determined that the gentleman from Medford had a license to carry. We seized the weapon for safekeeping. We've notified the Medford Police Department, who will be taking the appropriate administrative action. Some harrowing moments when the gentleman's firearm got away from him. Fortunately, it was found by people who acted responsibly, and right now it's being looked at within the context of the Medford Police Department's licensing. So that's the sum and substance of it. There was thankfully a favorable outcome, and this is an incident that relates primarily to the gun owner, and his responsibilities with gun ownership. But again, he did have a lawful permit, and the Medford Police Department are the ones that issued that firearm, and they have been given all the information and taking administrative action. So I just wanted to, clarify any issues that might have arisen from a news story, and that's, that's the sum and substance of it. So I just wanted you to hear it, from me.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the chief? All good?
Okay.
Okay, thank you, chief. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, clerk. So once again, I do not have the remove button. I have the remove button, but I don't have the other button. So I think he removed himself. So, okay. I won't be removing anybody this evening. They'll have to stay on if anybody's going to speak. So next order, is there any public comment?
There is not.
Okay. So next order of business.
Papers 447-20, minutes of the meeting of December 8th, and paper 448-20, minutes of the meeting of December 15th.
I make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
On Councilor DeMaria's motion, seconded by Councilor Spatafora to approve these sets of minutes, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Mel.
Mel, yes.
Condon.
Condon, yes.
Crow.
Yes.
DeMaria.
Yes.
Linehan.
Linehan, yes.
Murphy.
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley.
Yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow.
Winslow, yes.
Nika.
Tika, yes.
Minutes are accepted 11-0.
Next order of business.
Paper 449-20, mayoral reappointment, Mark Joseph Snider, 103 Boardman Avenue, Melrose, as a constable.
Councilor Crowe?
To be placed on file.
On Councilor Crow's motion to place on file, seconded by
Anderson.
I'll second it.
Anderson. Clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Kamel.
Kamel, yes.
Condon.
Condon, yes.
Crow.
Yes.
DeMaria.
Yes.
Linehan.
Linehan, yes.
Murphy.
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley.
Yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow.
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Tika, yes.
Papers placed on file 11-0.
Next order of business.
Paper 450-20, council reappointment, Lisa Cagno, 31 Quincy Street, Malden, clerk of committees, term to expire December 31st, 2021.
Councilor Crowe?
Usually we would refer these to committee but the committee decided while we're in this sort of forum that the reappointments will not go to committee only because we have limited time and limited resources when we try to get so many different people onto Zoom. So I'm making a motion. I think we should suspend council rules.
Condon seconds.
Councilor Crow's motion to suspend council rules, seconded by Councilor
Condon.
The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Kamel.
Kamel, yes.
Condon.
Condon, yes.
Crow.
Yes.
DeMaria.
Yes.
Linehan.
Linehan, yes.
Murphy.
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley.
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow.
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Tika, yes.
Rules are suspended 11-0.
Councilor Crowe.
As we've done with all the other reappointments for this year for now, and actually Ms. Cagno's really been a holdover. I think she should have been, she was up for reappointment in 2019. So I make a motion that we reappoint Lisa Cagno as the clerk of committees.
Second. Second it.
Councilor Crow's motion to reappoint Ms. Cagno, seconded by Councilor Condon. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Mel.
Mel, yes.
Condon.
Condon, yes.
Crow.
Yes.
DeMaria.
Yes.
Linehan.
Linehan, yes.
Murphy.
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Paper carries 11-0.
Make us stand up and take a bow.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you all. Look forward to next year.
Next order of business.
Okay, on the next order of business, there's a hearing for National Grid. I got a call from Councilor O'Malley today asking about the second petition at 105 Mountain Ave. After some digging in, and Councilor O'Malley did some things as well. That particular petition, the National Grid isn't asking to go forward with. It was originally for do some work for an electric charging station in that Mountain Ave lot, at 105 Mountain Ave lot, but when they looked into doing it, they realized it wasn't a good fit. So it was just some confusion with the contractor and National Grid, so that they're pulling back that petition. So the hearing tonight would be on two petitions at 108 Charles Street and 120 Commerce Ave. So the paper, it's paper 451-20, petition Mass Electric DBA National Grid 1101 Turnpike Street, North Andover, Mass, that it desires to construct a line of underground electric conduits, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures under and across the public way or ways hereinafter named, permission to excavate the public highways and to run and maintain underground electric conduits together with such sustaining and protecting fixtures as it may find necessary for the transmission of electricity. Said underground conduits to be located substantially in accordance with the plan filed here with Mark. First one's at 108 Charles Street.
Blasting on.
108 Charles Street, install an inline pole in front of 124 Charles Street. Dig across street from newly proposed pole to National Grid gas regular pit. Install a 1 to 3 foot conduit for underground siphon. And the second one would be 120 Commerce Ave, relocate an existing pole per customer's request. Customer states pole is too close to her driveway, request to move to property line.
Okay, so, City Clerk, we don't have them, they're not in on the screen, so they're,
I invited Moses from National Grid.
okay, so he looks like he's an attendee, so I'm gonna move
He
him.
should have been a participant.
Yeah, I see him over here on the side.
Yeah, you got a participant invite too.
All right, let's see. We got him up. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I declare the public hearing open. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of these petitions, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. Anyone wish to speak in favor? Good evening, Moses.
Good evening, councilors.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Okay, my name is Moses Okokuro. I'm here on behalf of National Grid Electric side. My address is 170 Medford Street in Malden. Yep.
Okay.
So currently before us, there are two different petitions. The one on Converse Ave, 120 Converse Ave, the customer said the pole is too close to our driveway. She wants us to relocate the pole to the property line, approximately about 15 feet from where it is currently. And then the second petition is on Charles Street. We originally submitted a petition to go underground to install a pole in front of 108 Charles Street and then run conduit to the new gas regulator pit just beside Stop and Shop. But a couple of weeks ago, we made some adjustments. I don't know if you have that sketch. So what we're intending to do is just to install a pole on the opposite side of the street and then run approximately 10 foot of conduit from that pole to the gas regulator pit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councilor Crowe or who's Converse Street? Councilor Condon?
No, that's me.
Crowe.
That's Crow.
I actually, I didn't even get a chance to really look at this location, so I just Googled the address, and it does appear that the pole is right at the edge of her driveway, and the driveway is not even the full length of her lot. So it's right up against there. So I don't have a problem with them moving it because it won't be interfering from what I can see, of course, on Google Map at the moment, interfering with any other driveway or the crosswalk that's a few feet down.
And 24 Charles, you're okay with?
I didn't get it. I didn't get a chance to look at it. No one even, I didn't. Let me see what 124 Charles.
I'm gonna skip you and see if there's anybody else that wishes to speak in favor of these. How's that? While you're doing your due diligence, does anybody else wish to speak in favor of these petitions? Anybody else wish to speak in favor of these petitions? If you want me to go to the people in opposition, Peg, and then you can talk before we vote? You're muted.
Again, oh, sorry. Moses, can you explain again what is, now that I'm kind of looking at it on the street view, I can, and I apologize. I mean, usually, you know, someone gives me a heads up or whatever, and I have not had a chance to check these two out. So can you explain again what's going on?
Do you mind if I share my screen, please?
Well, go ahead.
I think that would be.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you see the PDF file?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. So there's an existing pole in front of 108 Charles Street. So on the opposite side, which is 99 Charles Street, that's Stop and Shop. So we just want to install a new pole. And then, let me give you the second sketch. The red dot is a new pole, and at the blue line is a conduit going to the gas regulator pit. So pole will be going across the street beside Stop and Shop, just at the edge of the sidewalk, and then we'll have a riser and a conduit from the pole to the gas regulator pit, just, you know, meter cabinets. So that's basically what we intend to do.
So you're moving the pole from the Charles Street side to in front from not Charles Street, from the Stop and Shop side to in front of New England Coffee?
No, the existing pole is in front of New England Coffee. We'll be installing a new pole on the opposite side, which is beside Stop and Shop.
Okay.
Yeah. Currently, the pole line is on the New England Coffee side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you good with those, Councilor Crowe?
I am.
Okay.
Although I want to say that we've had this conversation with National Grid and other petitioners. You know, a heads up before you come to here to the ward councilor is you know, really helpful. You know, because then I can really actually look at it not on, you know, on a Google map that I don't know when the things were. So we've asked this before. I know it's been an issue before, and it does hold up the work. So I don't know who we send the message to ensure that before you get here, not the day of or when you get here, but before it's going on the docket, that the counselor is, the ward counselor is reached out to.
Thanks for the information. Sorry about that. We'll make sure we'll, you know, do our best to make sure we inform you ahead of time before the public hearing. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so anyone else wish to oh, we got some hands up. Councilor Spatafora.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm stuck in dual screens here. I'm trying to pull up. So what was your name again? I'm sorry. I'm looking at this map. I don't know why I can't pull my screen up here.
Okay, my name is Moses Okokuro.
Okay, Moses. So on the, I don't know what's going, oh, here we go. I'm sorry. I was trying to look at Google Maps at the same time and I minimized the wrong screen. On your,
Okay.
can you pull up your map again, your PDF?
Okay, hold on 1 minute, please.
And when you're doing that, I would just echo Councilor Crow's message that we know you're the messenger, but I think if it happens again, what we will do, at least from my council's perspective, is we just won't support it that night. We'll make you come back the following week until the councils have time to look at this, because we are trying to, really plan for these in a bunch of ways, and this makes a little bit of a challenge using technology instead of walking it. So first off, Moses, this is related to the gas upgrade you're doing in the street too, right? There's a high speed pressure line you're putting there, right? Or a high pressure line you're putting there. Is that a relate?
Yep,
Is that so? This is part of that work, right?
correct, sir. Yep.
Okay, and then
Yep.
So Council Crowe, just to go off first. So poll number 5436, which is currently in front of 108. You're moving that poll to in front of Stop and Shop at 99, right?
No, that poll.
What is that strikeout? What is the zero? What is that? I call it the Ghostbuster look. What is that symbol? I can't show you on my screen, but the symbol where it says poll number 546 in front of 108. What is that? What is that red circle with a line perpendicular or vertically? What is it? What is that? What does that mean?
That's an existing poll. If you look down at the bottom, this legend here, it shows poll existing.
Oh, there you go. There's a legend. Okay, that's
Yeah.
even. So you're adding a poll, you're not reducing a poll. You're actually adding a poll.
Exactly. So we're adding a poll on the north side from, looking at this sketch, which is a poll 5436-1.
Well, the only thing I would say, and I don't want to speak for Council Crowe, there's a driveway, I think, between 100, 108 and 100 that New England Coffee uses for 18-wheelers. And I don't know how wide that is, but we may want to talk to them, because that is a highly access point for them, because I know they go down Canal, they pull in the backside of Canal, and then I think they either exit or enter that off of Charles, and they make that loop. And by adding a pole there might cause not only some obstruction from the standpoint of the truck, but certainly from the view of the driver. So, and then my other question, Moses, is the new pole going to be on Stop and Shop's property, or is it going to be actually on the city sidewalk?
Yeah, it will be on the city property, but the edge of the sidewalk. Yeah,
Okay.
The sidewalk has just been paved recently, so this new pole will go at the back side of the sidewalk, not on the front side, not even on the street. Yeah, on the roadway rather.
Yeah, so I'll give back that's all I had, Moses. But Council Crowe, I think that's where the driveway is, between 108 and 100 with the 18-wheelers, I think. But you might want to look into that.
But sorry, sir, Craig, the driveway you're talking about, I'm sure it's on 108 Charles Street, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I try to look in Google Maps, but I couldn't, because those are three different. There's driveways between all of these buildings because they're separate, and they were acquired under different domains.
Okay, but on the opposite side, within this region where we're installing this new pole, there's no driveway there. If you don't mind, sir. I don't know if I can pull up Google. You mind if I pull up Google?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I tried to. Yeah, you see that driveway right there?
Yeah, good. So this is existing pole.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
This pole we're looking at. So the new pole You see where you have this
Okay, so the new one,
So
okay,
the
okay,
shop-
okay, yep, okay.
on, on the opposite, side. So I don't know if I can do any sketch here. No, I can't do any sketch
And
here.
Moses, I know this is not your problem, but I think it's gonna make that side of the street look awful ugly. You need a pole there? You really need a pole there?
Yeah, the point is, this existing pole,
You can't go underground?
from construction standpoint, we can't add anything else to this pole in terms of going underground. So we need a separate pole. Let me see if I can, I mean, it's tough to see, but we have at least 2 risers there. You see those 2 pipes there, right?
Yeah, you can't add any more to it, because I know it, yeah, those are new
Exactly.
wires. But it
Yeah,
just looks
exactly.
so ugly. And you can't go underground? You can't tie into those wires?
Yeah, the intent is to go underground, but for us to be able to go underground, we have to, do this same setup, do what they call a riser, install this pipe, and then trench across the street to the gas regulator pit. But because this pole is busy, in fact, the original plan was to install a pole just beside this fire hydrant and then trench across the street. But later on, we now change the plan to say, let's just install a pole rather than digging across the street. That would be a lot neater. And then, run the conduit from the pole to the.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, but I'll let Council Crowe make the decision. But I just think it seems like the easy way out for National Grid, and aesthetically it's ugly. But it's all the questions more. I know it's not your plan, but I'm not a fan of it. But I know there's other councils who want to speak. So Council Seeger, I'm all set. Thank you. Thank you, Moses, by the way.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You're welcome.
Counselor O'Malley, you're next.
I wholeheartedly agree with Councilor Spatafora. What we just saw there was one side of the street has, these power lines and these poles, and the other side of the street literally has no poles whatsoever. So this would be the only pole on that other side of the street. I agree with Councilor Spatafora. I think that this should go underground, and they should just trench across the street and resurface.
Thank you. Counselor Crowe.
Actually, when looking at this again, it'd be great if we had this conversation earlier. If it's going to be on the city sidewalk, because when you brought up your schematics there, it looked like it's going to be on the Stop and Shop property. And if it is, how wide is that sidewalk? And I do believe it would hinder people with wheelchairs. I do have an elderly building that usually uses Canal Street to get to Stop and Shop, or the bike path. I have to get off Canal Street. So, and we have a problem in certain areas that they can't really get by with scooters or so ADA compliance and some other things. So I actually would be in favor that we table this part of the petition until we can see if we could do it. I agree, it should go underground. That would be my desire to do. And if there's a reason that it can't, I don't want to be putting a pole over there that's going to really, hinder people getting to Stop and Shop.
I'll second your tabling motion.
Great. Counselor Murphy. You're muted.
Oh, I know, I'm trying, I get double screens going here, just trying to get back to it. So I just want to say, Moses, you and I have met on a number of occasions, and I know this is not you, okay, personally, but I am going to just piggyback off Councilor Spatafora's comment, which started with Councilor Crowe's comment, which I have made a number of times to National Grid. Okay, this is not the forum, okay, for National Grid to take up the time of the city councilors to debate this here, okay? We have city business that we need to do, okay? It is National Grid's responsibility to get to the city councilor ahead of these meetings to ferret out all of the issues associated with the movement of poles in their ward, okay? I'm actually getting quite insulted by the fact that you keep coming back to us, and not you personally, Moses, but National Grid, time and time again, after we have told you time and time again, contact the city councilor so that we can get this resolved. And we are not taking up our council meetings, okay, trying to understand what you are trying to do. So I would make a motion to the city council that unless National Grid has reached out to the city councilor, okay, that we do not hear any of their petitions, because this has been going on for years now. And it basically is taking up valuable time of us being able to deal with issues that we need to deal with on a city level, because National Grid continues to put things on the docket that they have not, after many times being asked, reached out to the city councilor to discuss beforehand. So I am 100% with Councilor Spatafora. I'm not going to hear another petition unless the first question that's asked is, has the city councilor been contacted and has a discussion taken place? Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Anderson, you're next.
Yes, just echo that same sentiment. And maybe we can just expedite this by instructing our city clerk to just not take these petitions, that let's check off the boxes. National Grid, have you met with the ward council? If you have, stop wasting our time. So I'm all for it. Moses, sorry that it's you that has to go through all this, but it's obvious that having these debates on city council night when it should have taken place earlier isn't productive for you or for us. So I'm all for tabling this and making sure that the ward council gets a chance to see what's going on and look at the alternatives before we move on this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Anderson. Okay, seeing no other hands up, anybody else wish to speak in favor of this petition? Hearing none and seeing none, I declare that portion of the public hearing closed. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition of this petition? Anyone else wish to speak in opposition of this petition? So hearing none, Councilor O'Malley.
I just want to say I'm opposed.
Okay. Hearing none and seeing none, I declare that portion of the public hearing closed. On Councilor Crow's motion to table the 124 Charles Street, seconded by Councilor O'Malley, was it?
Yes, it was.
That's correct.
The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Well, yes.
Condon. Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DeMaria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Metaphor, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Pika.
Tiki, yes.
Papers, that part of the papers tabled 11-0.
Councilor Crowe, do we have a motion to approve 120 Converse with the following conditions?
Make a motion.
Mute now. Mute.
We have a second. Anyone want a second Peg's motion? Okay. On Councilor Crow's motion, seconded by Councilor O'Malley, to grant 120 Converse Ave with the following conditions: that the engineer be called when DigSafe is notified, and that the streets and sidewalks be restored to the satisfaction of the director of the DPW. All those in favor? Oh, excuse me. We'll call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
No, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DeMaria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Metaphor, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Pika.
Tiki, yes.
120 Converse Ave is approved 11-0.
Great. So Moses, 120 is approved. 124 Charles is tabled. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Then
Okay,
have a nice night.
thank you, you too, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Next order of business.
The licenses, you want me to take up the deal license all in one batch? Council Murphy? Do you want me to take up the,
Sorry, trying to unmute and pull up the other screen. Yes, because these are all, oh,
except for one? There's,
just lost it again. Hold on a second. Sorry, I just lost the docket.
there's 5 dealers licenses and 1 secondhand.
And they're being referred.
Yes, yep.
Yes, please read them and we'll refer them.
Okay, paper 452-20, Class 2, Cullen Brothers, Inc., 61 Clinton Street, it's a renewal. Paper 453-20, Class 2, Malden Middlesex Motor Sales, Inc., 129 Charles Street, 15 cars, it's a renewal. Paper 454-20, Class 2, Next Level Motors, Inc., 189 Eastern Ave, 35 cars, it's a renewal. Paper 455-20, Class 2, Smart Buy USA, 616 Broadway, 26 cars, it's a renewal. Paper 456-20, Class 3, Malden Middlesex Motor Sales, 129 Charles Street, it's a renewal. And paper 457-20, Secondhand Dealer, Great Eastern Vintage, 258 Highland Ave, it's new.
Motion to refer to license, please.
Second.
On Councilor Murphy's motion, seconded by Councilor Anderson to refer these to license, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Mel,
Mel, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Papers are referred to license 11-0.
Next order, Councilor Di Maria, you have your hand up.
Oh, I can wait, but I want to keep it up for the next piece.
Okay. Councilor, next order of business.
Paper 458-20, order election of council president for 2021.
Okay, Councilor Di Maria, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to say a few things. We are all living in a competitive world where everyone is running the race to prove themselves. During the course of action, people are sometimes forgetting the basic ethics of teamwork, values, and morals. In a team, you become strong by lifting others up and giving wings to fly. I just can't imagine if my fellow councilors didn't give me a chance to be council president. Previous councilors such as Councilor Condon, Councilor Spatafora, Councilor Murphy, Councilor Anderson, Councilor Crow, Councilor Sika. Can you imagine if they didn't give us a chance to be council president? So I'd like to make a motion right now to nominate Ward 4 City Councilor Ryan O'Malley.
I have to open the nominations, Councilor Di Maria, so hold that nomination, okay?
Okay.
Does anybody have a motion to open nominations?
Motion to open nominations.
On Councilor Condon's motion to open nominations, seconded by Councilor Kamel, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Mel, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
Yes.
Winslow.
Winslow, yes.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, wait, Linehan. Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Nominations are open.
Okay.
Sika, did you want me to repeat that?
I do, Councilor Di Maria, yes.
Thank you. I'd like to formally make a motion to nominate Councilor of Ward 4 Ryan O'Malley.
Do we have a
I'll
second?
second that.
Okay. We take nominations first, right, clerk,
You
and then
do, you do.
Councilor Spatafora?
Motion to nominate Councilor Neil Innocent.
And I'll second that.
Okay, so we got two motions.
Motion to close nominations.
Second.
Okay. On Councilor Spatafora's motion to close nominations, seconded by Councilor Crow, the clerk will call the roll.
Okay. Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Mel,
Mel, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Grow,
Yes.
DeMaria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Yes.
Nominations are closed.
Counselor O'Malley, you have your hand up?
I just wanted to thank the nominators for nominating me to potentially be council president. I just want to speak to the council really briefly. I don't want to reiterate everything I said the last time, but I would just really appreciate the chance to have this leadership position. You know, I don't know if you know what it could feel like to be passed up 2 years in a row, but it doesn't feel great. I do think that, you know, with my leadership, we would be a very effective and a very productive city council, and I would gladly take your vote and appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, city clerk.
Anderson,
Anderson,
Kamel,
O'Malley.
Condon,
Anderson,
Rowe,
Anderson.
DeMaria,
O'Malley.
Linehan,
O'Malley,
Murphy,
Anderson,
O'Malley,
O'Malley.
Spatafora,
Anderson.
Winslow,
O'Malley,
Sika.
Anderson.
Counselor Anderson wins 6-5.
Motion to make it unanimous.
second it.
Counselor O'Malley's motion to make it unanimous, seconded by Counselor Condon. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Mel, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DeMaria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Yes.
Becomes unanimous 11-0.
Thank you, councilors. Thank you very much for your support, and thank you, Councilor O'Malley, for suggesting that it be a unanimous decision, and I hope to work well with all of you in the coming year. Thank you.
Next order of business.
Paper 459-20, or the city council adopt a schedule of council meetings for 2021.
Okay, this is just our schedule of meetings. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconded by,
Second.
Condon,
okay. On Councilor Condon, excuse me, Anderson's motion to adopt the schedule of council meetings, seconded by Councilor Condon. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Mel,
Mel, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DeMaria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Paper carries 11-0.
Next order of business.
Paper 464-20, order be hereby ordained that the city of Malden revised ordinance of 2020 further amend 08.110 section A by adding a new definition driving school and amending section 6.08.110 section B 7 and 8 by adding driving school. Further amending by adding license requirements for drivers, driving school teachers, employees, similar to taxis and livery license requirements.
Who wants to speak on this? Councilor Spatafora, Councilor DeMaria, Linehan?
It doesn't matter. I can yield to either one of them.
Craig, you can take the floor. I'll go second.
Okay. So this was brought to it was brought to our attention by somebody in Ward 3, and certainly I think a resident of Ward 3. You probably have seen an uptick in these driving schools. It actually started probably a couple of years ago. and a lot of them are out of the city, because I don't think there's any driving schools in the city of Malden, but that's not the point. They have been, in the beginning, because I think it started on the Council Matheson, that's how long this has been going on. It really happened near BB School, and now it's kind of spread out, not even just to Ward 3, probably parts of Ward 4. And what's happening is it's a two-part thing. One is there's a lot of them on the street at once, and the second thing is there's a lot of unsafetiness, if that's even a word, with the way they're training these new drivers, and some of the residents have some serious concern. So I think this potential license/ordinance change might solve some of it. We certainly will need probably compliance in the police to step up their patrol on this, because enforcement's everything. And I will be honest with you, this started a while ago, and I have worked in council. DeMaria has been emailing me. Council Linehan has also been very instrumental. So we've done some research, and they are under they are registered underneath the Registry of Motor Vehicles. There's really no. So I went to both our attorneys, Ken Rossetti and Kate Fallon, the solicitor, and there's really no this case law that really is a gray area, because they are really controlled by the state. However, there's nothing saying that we couldn't create a license, and my thought was almost like a taxi or livery license to at least get some guidelines or a little bit of control, not to prevent them from doing it, but to at least let them know better procedures and processes, and maybe certain areas they should be off limits. It does get very tough from the legal perspective, and I can go into that, but I won't. But my thought is to send this to licensing to look at those options. That's why those ordinances are there, and those are actually with the taxi and livery drivers are licensed with us. So I would like to send it to licensing first, to debate it there, have some legal opinion, and then we probably would have to update the ordinances. I didn't want to go to ordinance until license had a good crack at it, but that's the thought process. And again, Council Linehan and DeMaria have been working with me to get this out there, and it's been going on for a while, but we certainly feel we need to make some change here. Thank you.
Okay, so on Councilor Spatafora's motion to refer. What'd you say, Council?
I didn't know if Council DeMaria wanted to speak.
Sorry, Councilor Murphy, I just saw your hand.
No, Council DeMaria
has her hand up.
Oh.
I have no problem with this. I guess I'm just thinking, should it just come to license, or should it be a joint license ordinance meeting?
Yeah.
I just think, we in license might try to, impose certain requirements that aren't going to be agreeable with our ordinance. I think it might be better to go to joint ordinance license and just have at least the initial discussion there to kind of figure out who's going to pick up what piece of this to see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, if I can address that, Madam President, I don't have a problem either way. I know Attorney Ken Rossetti, who's on, he's done a lot of work on this, and the only reason why I said the ordinance licensing first, Council Murphy, is because I don't know legally it's going to be a little bit of some work, and I didn't even know if we could legally do this yet in terms of creating a license/ordinance. So I just sent it to licensing just to have that debate with legal and look at options. If we can certainly send it to both. It doesn't. I don't have a problem as one of the co-sponsors. I didn't want to waste a lot of time if this was something that we couldn't zig or zag on it. But this has been something I've been talking to Ken Rossetti about, and he certainly understands a lot better than I do. But I just think that this is something we need to do. So that's why I started with licensing.
Okay, and Councilor Spatafora, that's fine. I mean, as chair of license, it's just nothing that's ever come before us before, in that particular realm for driving schools. But we certainly can take that on next year. And then, if we feel that once we've had some conversation with legal, we need to move it to a joint license ordinance, we can, because I think it's, very similar to a lot of the, orders that come through that have to go joint finance ordinance. I think this is something that probably will, follow that same track. So let's send it to license and we'll deal with it and then see where we need to go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor.
Madam President.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, is the issue public safety?
Yes.
Is that one of the concerns that's been raised here? So it might turn out,
Yep.
I see Ken Rossetti's hands up here. It might turn out that the Public Safety Committee, one that isn't quite as busy as either license or the, you're laughing, Councilor Spatafora.
No, they're always busy. All our committees are busy.
Yeah, I know you're all busy, but you know, that may also be a consideration, that this sounds like a public safety issue as well. So the sponsors may think about wanting to refer it in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Rossetti, did you have something you wanted to chime in before
I raised my hand in response to Councilor Anderson's question about what the concern is, and I just wanted to very briefly weigh in. One of the key points here is the question of whether the state statute that confers the authority on the registrar of motor vehicles to license driving schools would preempt municipalities or preempt municipalities from being able to enact any kind of licensing regime for the driving schools in their communities. There is a state statute, it's Mass General Laws, Chapter 90, Section 32G, which vests the authority in the registrar of motor vehicles to set the curriculum. And there are enabling regulations under 540 Code Mass Regulations, Section 23, that lays out in greater specificity what those licensing requirements are. So the question is going to be, to what extent does a municipality have an ability to carve out rules that would not be preempted by the state law vesting authority in the registrar to license driving schools? So that'll be a subject to study when the committees take up that consideration in conjunction with the legal department next year.
Yep.
Understand. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, Councilor Di Maria, you're next.
Thank you, Madam President. And I just want to take a minute to say it was a great collaboration with Councilors Spatafora and Linehan, all of which the three of us live in Ward 3. Especially Councilor Spatafora and I, we live between 3 schools here, and those driving schools are everywhere in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, even on Thanksgiving Day.
Yep.
They're teaching a student there. So it is a safety concern. It is a licensing concern. It is very important. 5 years ago, we started this. And 5 years ago, we were told that it's public road, so we can't do anything about it. But I am so glad that we've dug deeper into this, because we have to be able to do something about it. They're using our streets. There's a safety concern with strollers and mothers and fathers zipping their kids to, the Rockland 2 schools, the BV school, and it's really crazy. So wherever we send it, either all of the above or
Yep.
we start in license, it's great to get it back on the docket and to really roll up our sleeves for January to get going on this. I really, really would hate to see a child get hurt or a resident get hurt walking on our sidewalks, because these student drivers are not knowing what they're doing. And I don't know about any of you, but I learned how to drive in an empty school parking lot. So why are they on our public streets? I don't know, but thank you to the 2 sponsors, and I look forward to the work in committee. Thank you. I yield.
Councilor Linehan, you're next.
Thank you, Madam President. I would echo much of what Councilor Di Maria said in terms of both thanking the fellow sponsors for collaborating on this, and also just in terms of, representing the residents' concerns around there. I think for anyone who lives or has a child at BB or Rockland, which I've certainly been through both of those schools, and also just door knocking last year through Dexter, Maple, Lower Hawthorne, Elm, Clifton, really that whole area, practically every other house all of those folks wanted to know is, what are you going to do about the driving schools if you get elected? So it's definitely a hot button issue in the area. And I do think that regardless of how it moves through committee, I think it's a worthwhile discussion to have. And I want to thank the residents who've been pushing us to keep it at the top of our agenda in a very, very busy year. I think regardless of where this falls and how it all shakes out, I think that it'll leave us with some really good information. And it is going to come back down to enforcement, as Councilor Spatafora had started out saying. You know, there's a lot of issues in that area that put pedestrians and kids and folks on bikes and in wheelchairs and what have you at a serious disadvantage. So I think through the whole process, we can get to some good solutions for the area. And I look forward to discussing it in committee as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Winslow.
Yeah, no, I appreciate this. I think this is an approach worthy of exploring. I know in the past there was a proposal to basically just say you can't operate within 500 feet of a school or a daycare, and I just didn't think that was sensible. People do need to learn to drive. It's good if they can learn to drive safely, but we shouldn't overburden a particular neighborhood, and we should have a sense of, you know, who are the driving school instructors, who is running the school. So I think this is a sensible approach compared to what has been proposed in the past. And so certainly I thank the counselors for coming up with something that's worthy of exploring, and hopefully we can find what we can do legally to regulate the business fairly in our community. So thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so no other lights. We are sending this to, did we decide what we're going to send this to, Councilor Spatafora?
License.
License, okay. So Councilor Spatafora's motion to refer this to license, seconded by Councilor DiMaria.
Yes.
The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Well, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DiMaria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Speaker, yes.
Papers referred to license. Paper 465-20, order that is authorized under the City of Malden Charter, Section 14, that the City Council appoint Controller Charles Rannigan as Chief Financial Officer, effective July 1st, 2021.
Councilor Kamel.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to see us have this discussion. We've known for some time the city would benefit from this position that will be sort of a single point of responsibility and leadership in our finance team. Quite frankly, Mr. Rannigan's been doing this much of the job already, but I think it would be the right thing to do and the wise thing to do for our city to recognize this. I'd like to. I know there's many considerations for this is a personnel move and so on and so forth. Similar to what we just talked about in the preceding paper, I'd like to maybe refer to finance to have the meat of the conversation in terms of what is the position itself, our need for the position, and what makes sense, and then maybe see if we proceed from that point to either have a personnel and appointments or whatever. But that's that would be my initial motion and suggestion. Thank you. Were we supposed to have should I have a motion to receive the paper, or did we already have the motion to receive?
No, that's not a committee report yet.
Sorry, great, thank you.
You're getting ahead of
I just
yourself.
stopped. Wait, did I miss? All right, so that's my motion to refer to finance for further discussion.
And I will second that.
Okay, I have a few hands. So Councilor DiMaria, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And I know that for many years I've sat on city council and we were cited for not having a CFO in our city. So I am absolutely thrilled with this suggestion. Mr. Rannigan is one of those calls that I make frequently, and he's always there with an answer. And if he doesn't have it, he gets back to you within, quick speedy yeoman's time. So I will second that motion to go to finance, and I don't think we could find a better candidate for this position. And we're getting a twofer here. So thank you, Councilor Kamel. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Spatafora.
So just so I understand, so there was the motion, which was by Councilor Kamel to send to finance, and Councilor DeMaria seconded, correct?
I thought I seconded it.
Who did?
I thought Councilor Murphy seconded it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here's my, and I will certainly support whatever path we take. My reaction after hearing this, and I called and dug into it. So it's not going to be a new position, right? We're not replacing. We're not going to, create a CFO and then take Mr. Rannigan and put it in there and then backfill his position. So it's not like a new job is being created. It is a title change that comes along with additional, I would say, HR responsibilities. And I'm not opposed to going through finance, but if there's only one candidate, it's Mr. Rannigan. What my request would be is we make a motion to approve tonight, but with the caveat that Mr. Rannigan has to come back to either the full council or finance in 30 days with a business plan as a CFO. Because unless I'm reading the council wrong, Mr. Rannigan will be approved as a CFO as a title change. And they'll be taking on those responsibilities. And why not just do it now? Again, it's not a new position, it's a title change, but it gives him some authority over the other two individuals in the financial aspect of the city. And then we require him to come back to the full council, the finance committee, to give us his business plan as the CFO. That would be something I would willing to support. Not that I don't want to go to finance with it, but in my opinion, we can start 21 off with this. We know it's been a deficiency in our report for many years. I commend Councilor Kamel even taking this action. But if we have to go to finance, I do not want to stop this from happening, but I am trying to be a little bit more efficient because I think we're all going to vote for Mr. Rannigan for this new title ultimately at the end of the day anyways.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Anderson.
Yes, I think Chuck will make a good CFO. I think we've seen the great work that he has done. This looks like it's talking about this position beginning on July 1st. So I'm not sure that there's any rush for us to do it this evening. This is the last meeting of the city council for this season, for this calendar year. The ideas that Councilor Spatafora just mentioned about having Chuck Rannigan come up with a plan, I think makes all the sense in the world. He's the guy that we're going to be looking at. We should still look for that plan, but I think it makes sense that we not just pass this the same evening, even though I'm quite sure that we're going to get 11 votes in favor of Chuck Rannigan for this. So I think out of best protocol, we should be sending this on to committee and flushing it out in that way. That's what I would support, that it be referred to the finance committee.
Thank you. Councilor O'Malley, you're next.
I agree with Councilor Anderson. I don't think there's a rush to do this. And I would like to understand the financial impact of the move. And the only thing obviously I would be in support of Chuck being the CFO after the due diligence. The only question I have is I can't remember if we passed it or not, or if it's an ordinance. But Councilor Spatafora, didn't we also pass something that said, any new position or every position has to be posted for a certain period of time? I just don't know if this would impact it or not. But I do think that we should at least have the conversation in finance.
Yeah, can I answer that, Madam President?
Go ahead.
No, it's a good question, Councilman. I actually asked that too, and that's why I stressed that it's not a new position. He is just taking the title. We wouldn't hire just a CFO, and so that's why if it was a new position, I completely agree we would have to post it. But he's getting the title change to CFO, and monetarily, I don't know what that would be. That would have to come from the mayor's office. So again, I agree with all these comments, even from Councilor Anderson. I was just trying to be a little bit more efficient, but certainly understand the protocols. But I appreciate the posting position, but he would not be. It's not a separate position, right? If we were going to hire him as just the CFO and backfill, yes, we would have to do exactly that, the posting.
Okay, Councilor, let's see. Councilor Camille, you already spoke already. Councilor Di Maria already spoke. Councilor Murphy, you haven't had a turn yet, correct?
Thank you. You can hear me?
Yep.
Yes. I seconded the motion to send it to finance because I think that there are a number of things that we need to take into consideration, and we need to hear from Mr. Brannigan. You know, I actually want to speak to him. Not only do I want to see a business plan from him, but I want to actually understand, you know, how he sees the future of the city going. And we've had a number of things put before us during the month of December. And a big one was the reorganization of the MRA. Okay, so there's a lot of balls in motion here as to how the city is going to function moving forward. And I think we need to take all of those into consideration. I think we need to have, you know, a good discussion, you know, with Mr. Brannigan, understand, you know, the movement of what's happening with the MRA and how all of this is going to fit together as we move forward. So I think finance is the best place for this to go, for those discussions to take place so that it's transparent to our community as to what we as a council are doing. We have the right to do this, but I think we need to have future discussions that are more open and transparent so everyone understands the direction we're taking and why we are taking. So that is the reason I second this going to finance, so those discussions can take place. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Condon, you're next.
Thank you, Madam President. For years, the management report, that's what we heard for year after year after year. You need to hire a CFO. This will be a CFO/controller. I believe in the charter, it calls for one of the three financial people. Treasurer could be CFO/treasurer. Even the assessor would be eligible according to the charter. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. But there's no question here. You couldn't think of a finer employee to put in that position. He doesn't know what a time clock is. Whatever it takes to get it done, he's going to get it done, whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday. And started off working under Dom Famano. No better example than a guy like Dom. But Chucky has carried it on, and the city's never been in even close to this financial shape. Over $18 million in free cash. I mean, it's just done a tremendous job. It won't hurt to send it to committee because there's always going to be people that say you weren't transparent.
Yep.
Send it to committee, get the business plan. He knows exactly what he's got to do, what he wants to do. And I think he's going to be great. And I would say that pretty good chance the management report want us to have an auditing department. Another position that we should have had somebody as an auditor. And I think with the reorganization with the MRA, I think that's what you will eventually see, someone working to have being an auditor in our financial system. So it's a good move. It's a great hire. Not hire, but reorganization move.
Thank you. Councilor Camille.
Yeah, no, I thank everybody for their input. Obviously, yeah, it's a promotion of somebody who's been a trusted member of our staff for a long time. And I think, yeah, it's pretty clear that we all share that same opinion. I have every confidence in Controller Brannigan, but it's arguably because there could be some debate on this, but arguably the highest, I don't know, highest paid, but the most authority of any non-elected position in the city. I think it's got to be more than one single vote. I would not have introduced this at the last meeting in December if I were thinking it was tonight would be the decision making. So I really do look forward to having some discussion about it. I don't mean to say that I won't be thinking about it, but I know how it's going to end up. But we do need to go through the process of it. It's such a pivotal and powerful role in the city. I think we've got to do our due diligence on it. Thanks. So I would reiterate to move it, refer to finance.
Yep.
I will second that.
Councilor Kamel's motion, seconded by Councilor Murphy. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Maria,
Maria, yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Tika.
Kiki, yes.
Papers referred to finance 11-0.
Next order of business.
Paper 466-20, order be it hereby ordained that section 2.08.040 and 2.16.060 of chapter 2 of the revised ordinances of 2020 be amended to read Commission on Energy Efficiency and Sustainability.
Councilor Kamel for the paper.
Yeah, hi. So originally I had thought what we would do is simply ask the new council president to rename a committee, forgetting that this is actually from directly in our ordinance. And so this has been something we've talked about in the EEC, hopefully soon to be in the SC for some time. In the mission, if you read the mission itself, I apologize, I should have brought it up to read it for everybody, but it mentions quite clearly sustainability and environmental impact. It's really weaved in there to the mission. This would sort of just be nominally reflecting that in the name and just being more clear about what our mission is, because it does expand and extend upon beyond energy efficiency. So it is a ordinance change. I will refer, this may be something I would say I would be open to doing on the floor tonight. But of course, it's not an emergency situation. So to refer to finances, I mean, no, refer to ordinance. Perfectly fine with me.
Second.
So,
Councilor Crowe, you have your hand up.
I just want to say I am in full support of this, of the name change. I think when we did interviews for the Energy Efficiency Committee and we chose Matt Walsh, it really was talking a lot more about sustainability and really where the city needs to go. So I think it makes perfect sense to make this name change, and I supported going to ordinance, or if you wanted to do it on the floor, that's fine with me too.
Thank you. So on Councilor Winslow, you have your hand up?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say I'm very supportive of this too. I mean, I know the Energy Committee did a great job in focusing on getting our city buildings more efficient, but I think certainly expanding the name and trying to get the vision to, you know, thinking about bigger issues like climate change and heat islands and other type of things that we need to do as a modern city, I think is important. So I think it's great that we start working at that level and start recruiting and working with people to tackle some of those issues. And there's also, you know, grants out there that ultimately, if we have plans and are working together, we can tap those, just like I think we're tapping some for the Malden River work and other things. So, but there's more potential out there if we have strategies and are working on that consistently. Thanks.
Thank you. So on Councilor Kamel's motion, seconded by Councilor Winslow to refer this to ordinance, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Mel,
yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crowe,
Yes.
Maria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Tika.
Kiki, yes.
Paper is referred to ordinance.
Great. Next order of business.
Paper 468-20, order be it hereby ordained that the City of Malden revised ordinance of 2020, section 4.16, sign control be amended by adding the following additional language. Number 1, definitions, by adding definition of recreational trail and sign recreational trail facing. 2, regulations of sign by sign type, by adding regulations for the new type of sign. 3, regulations of signs by district, by adding this sign type to the following signs in residence A, B, and C zoning districts. recreational trail facing signs must be wall signs, cannot be illuminated, and are limited to 50% of the area of the allowable wall sign for that district. These signs will not count against the total signage allowed for building or tenant. These signs are restricted to non-residential uses. Allowing the signs in residence A, B, and C zoning districts makes them allowable in all districts, which accounts for the numerous parcels located along the trail.
Councilor Spatafora for the.
Yeah, the first thing I'd like to do is recognize that this is I don't know, I was trying to look at my emails earlier. I don't know if I forgot, but I don't think I did. But Councilor O'Malley, Councilor Murphy, and Councilor Winslow should have been co-sponsors on this paper. So this is a result of a discussion we had with the last update in the sign ordinances, which was not that long ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3. And this was one of those areas that Councilor Winslow and Councilor O'Malley wanted, which was the I don't want to say the backside because some areas it might be the front door, but any business facing the bike trail have the ability to have some signage. And the way the sign ordinance works, based on Councilor Murphy description earlier, it is somewhat technical, and we put a lot of work into it, so we just didn't want to react in that meeting. The good news, very collaborative, not only as much as between the 4 councils, but also I have to say a big shout out to Building Commissioner Nelson Miller. Both myself, Nelson Miller, Councilor Murphy, and Councilor O'Malley, after that meeting Tuesday night, literally hung up the phone and started calling each other to figure out a way to fix this challenge. And we did, and Nelson did a lot of the work. And actually, if you look at some of the language that's proposed, it just doesn't say the bike trail. It's actually recreational trail. So it covers us for future growth in different areas of the city. But there was a meeting, sign design review committee meeting as a course of normal business. Both Councilor O'Malley and Councilor Winslow participated in that meeting. We discussed these options. Certainly, this is not going to be the end all, the be all, either in this ordinance or even in these proposals. So they should be recognized as co-sponsors. And then we're going to send it to ordinance. We discussed an ordinance, and then hopefully quickly added to the final updated ordinances so that we can get this loophole fixed. So I just wanted to give that update. So I would also, if any of the other sponsors want to speak, again, I apologize. I'm looking at my email. I don't know if I didn't add it, but I thought I did.
Councilor Winslow, you have your hand up.
Yeah, no, I certainly would want to be added as a sponsor. I appreciate Councilor Spatafora and Councilor Murphy, pushing back a little bit against the proposal I put, but also then committing to work very quickly to address that, and Building Inspector Miller to come up with some language that fit in the context. I really hadn't, been involved in working on this, and I appreciate their dedication to keeping signs reasonable, and I think it's worked out as a fair way. So I appreciate that it's going forward. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Spatafora made a motion to refer this matter to committee. Who seconded it?
No.
Councilor Winslow?
Sure, I'll second it. Yep.
On Councilor Spatafora's motion, seconded by Councilor Winslow, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Kamel.
Kamel, yes.
Condon.
Condon, yes.
Crow.
Yes.
Di Maria.
Point of order, are we enrolling this right now? Because it's coming out of committee, is it not?
No, it's referring to committee.
Oh,
Came
it's
out of sign committee.
Yeah.
Roll is the next section.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes.
Linehan.
Linehan, yes.
Murphy.
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley.
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow.
Winslow, yes.
Fika.
Yes.
Papers referred to ordinance.
Next order of business.
Paper 192-20, order be it hereby ordained that the revised ordinance of 2020, section 12.24 be updated as per attachment.
So on Councilor Spatafora's motion to ordain this ordinance, do we have a second?
Second.
Councilor
Second.
seconded, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson.
Anderson, yes.
Kamel.
Oh, yes.
Condon.
Condon, yes.
Crow. Crow.
Yes, sorry.
That's all right. Di Maria.
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley. O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Fika.
Yes.
Paper is ordained 11-0.
Great. Next order of business.
Okay, on committee reports, that paper 460-20, and Council O'Malley could speak to that. That got put on as a committee report, but those two particular cells on Hospital Road and Pearl Street, they got tabled in committee. So those are still in committee, those two items. That's correct, right, Council O'Malley?
Yeah, so I won't make any motion to receive the committee report. We can just leave it there to die.
Okay. So the next paper is 461-20. Committee report, public property, paper 323-20, Celco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless to collocate small wireless facilities, also referred to as small cells, on existing wooden utility poles located within the public right-of-way at the following locations: 88 Bellsway East, 339 Pleasant Street, 122 Maple Street, 319 Highland Ave, 20 West Street, 68 Highland Ave, 183 Emerald Street, 154 Highland Ave, 557 Pleasant Street, 77 Pearl Street, 397 Highland Ave, 448 Medford Street, 198 Maple Street, 89 West Street, 0 Highland Ave, utility pole number 641, 91 Adams Street, 19 Chatham Street, and 1250 Fellsway with the following language: the equipment not be installed on any poles that are double poles or adjacent to double poles until National Grid replaces them. And these installations do not include mechanical cooling devices or fans.
Move to receive the committee report.
On Councilor O'Malley's motion to receive the committee report, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Yes.
Kamel.
Kamel, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DeMaria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Fika.
Yes.
Committee report is received 11-0.
Councilor O'Malley for the committee.
Thank you. So as the chair of public property, we are tasked because of our ordinance, which we wrote to try to get the situation under control of the rollout of the 5G network in Malden. We are tasked with reviewing any applications that come before us to make sure that they comply with our ordinance. At first, these came in as a trickle, a couple of them, and now, as you can see, they're coming in as a deluge. There's a lot of misinformation out there about 5G. Some of it is valid. Other is probably not valid. And as you can see from the last paper that we chose not to receive, we do reject some applications, particularly if they're too close to residential properties. We don't want these to be way too close to a home, and so we do our due diligence. These are the ones that are being proposed that we move forward with. One of the concerning things that we noticed, and Councillor Condon of Ward 2 and Councillor Crow of Ward 1, they are very diligent on this, and they reached out proactively and said, I'm noticing that National Grid is out there putting up double poles at these addresses. And that is the reason why we added the condition that no equipment be installed on a location that has a double pole or a location that is adjacent to a double pole. It's not ideal. I promised when I was in the committee that I would do some research, and I have reached out to a few people who are more knowledgeable of the topic than I am. And one of the reasons why we're seeing this, like any new technology, the goal is to roll this out so that the city of Malden is prepared for a 5G network, basically faster internet through your mobile device. And one of the things that I've learned is that there is an equity component to this, particularly in a community like Malden, where a number of lower socioeconomic households, as well as households, et cetera, more frequently use their Wi-Fi or their mobile devices for Wi-Fi than wired connections. And especially with everyone working from home, this has put an additional burden on the network as people are working from home and taking classes. So this is my long way of saying we have done our due diligence. It's not ideal. And one of the things that we are trying to find out from the telecommunications companies is what is their plan? What does the full rollout of this look like? And Councillor Condon knows, they probably don't want to give that to us, but we know that there must be a plan somewhere. They're not just walking around with a blindfold on. So we're hoping that we can develop some type of rapport with the telecommunications companies and their lawyers to better understand what would this look like in our community, so we can effectively communicate it to our residents. So I'm open for questions from the committee. This did come out of committee, out of the council, and this did come out of committee unanimous.
Thank you. Councilor Condon?
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank the Public Property Committee. They let me speak on my feelings on what's going on in our community. It's like they were overtaking my neighborhood. Double poles going up everywhere. And the ones they didn't do that day, because I visited every site, the ones they didn't do, they did the past week or two. If you notice, trying to get through Ward 2, streets are closed, double poles are going up. I think it's great that we put that restriction on them, that they don't get a cellular power put on those poles until they get rid of the double pole. Everybody that's been around for any kind of time knows what the National Grid put us through trying to get rid of these double poles. It was like, they wouldn't listen, and they took their sweet time. So now I think it's our turn to respond, because we know what's going on. They can say they don't have a plan, but everybody knows that they do have a plan. When they first come in, we tried to find out, what's your plan? You got to have a 3 or 4 or 5 year plan. Where you going? They said, well, we're going to do this, do this. They know exactly where they're going. They're going to go to every street corner or every other street corner, and you're going to find double poles all over the place unless we put a stop to it. Thank you.
So Councilor O'Malley Councilor Winslow.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the input that Councilor Crowe and Councilor Condon put in about the double poles. And I think we will make sure that going forward that all the petitions have these conditions. I know Councilor O'Malley had also expressed concern for residents that if there's antennas that make noise or buzzing. So we added a provision about preventing fans and mechanical devices to also respond to concerns in the neighborhood. So we're trying to create that balance between progress and knowing how everybody has a cell phone and wants it faster and better, but also making sure that we're not overburdening our neighborhoods and having double poles. I mean, just on Valley Street, my wife was looking out the window this morning. There's a pole going up, and driving on Mount Vernon today was closed off because of poles. So this is all happening as we're speaking, but like I say, trying to create a great balance and but making sure we don't have 100 double poles sitting out there for another 3 years. I appreciate that input, and I am support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, Madam President. And yes, we all know how we feel about this skyline letter, but that's a whole other different topic. The double poles were a huge issue, and I think this is a great paper. And I think the next thing that we need to look at, just as a committee, is we don't seem to be able to control the number of requests that are coming in for different poles. to put this apparatus on, there is, you know, a radiation leakage from each one of these pieces that are put on the pole. And I think we need to have a conversation about the proximity of future locations and how they're in proximity to each other. Because, you know, we get reports, okay, well, this particular thing just gives like an output of X. But what happens if we have 5 poles, okay, all in a row that have one from T-Mobile, one from Verizon, you know, et cetera, et cetera. What's the overall impact on that area from the output of any radiation from these particular pieces of equipment? So I think, you know, we need to, I think this is something the council really needs to focus on to see how it's done. I know everybody wants better cell phone coverage, better downloads for videos, et cetera. But I do think we need to look at the, you know, the impact to the health and welfare of our city by allowing these and not having an overall game plan as to how many we will allow, in what proximity and contact to each other they should have. So just not going to stop this tonight, but just I think it's a conversation that we need to continue. Thank you.
Councilor Spatafora.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate it. Sorry, I was making sure I was off mute. I certainly echo, I think, what this committee is going through. I do, you know, Councilor O'Malley's taken this kind of lead on this and done a great job in terms of making sure that we really look at every location. And I know Councilors Condon and Crowe has done that for their wards, and I think it's important. You know, and I also appreciate the approach here. I know we talk about safety and skyline litter, and I think Councilor Winslow used a great word when he said balance, because you do want to make sure that we do give this type of internet infrastructure to our residents in our cities, because there are great things that come with this. But I do want to echo those councils who want to at least say pump the brakes for a number of reasons. There are right now 90 cities and towns across the country, and that might not seem like a lot, but some of these towns are massive, that are actually fighting in the Supreme Court, the FCC, over jurisdiction of these actual boxes and devices. And I do have a paper and ordinance that says that you cannot have one of these devices in a residential location. Now, that might not be easier said than done, but I think there's enough locations around the community and neighborhood business, commercial zone, the industrial zones that might get coverage. In a lot of those areas too, we own the poles. And the reason why I say that is because these companies are paying National Grid or Verizon, depending on the poles, money for that. In some communities like San Francisco or Boston, where they own some of the poles, they're actually making a lot of money for this. So that's something to look at. The other thing is there are some other cities and towns that actually require a minimum distance between these boxes. So there's a whole bunch of communities facing the same challenges we had. And finally, one of the things that I saw that was pretty interesting, and there's a city in Seattle, or excuse me, in Washington State, where they're requiring, when they put these boxes up, to put public signage in front of the boxes. So if they're on a main street, they have to put a directional. They might say City Hall to the left, or they might say the parks to the right. So they're using it for mile markers for public good. It's not necessarily to do anything in terms of the radiation, but at least aesthetically, they're using it, and the city's demanding that these signs go up at the cost of the telecommunication company. So I think, like any ordinance or any new technology, the rules have to change to meet that. I think this committee's done a great job. I look forward to those discussions about limiting where these can go to some degree, right? Or the number in a certain area in 21. But I just want to speak on this because I think the double pole idea is ingenious, because I see a couple of them on Upper Highland, and they've been there for a while. So anytime we can get a double pull out, I think is a win for the city and certainly the residents. So thank you, Madam President.
You, Councilor Spatafora. Okay, Councilor O'Malley, you made a motion to grant these petitions? No?
I didn't make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Councilor Winslow's motion to grant these petitions. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilor Linehan. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Oh, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
Di Maria, yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Petitions are granted 11-0.
Right. Next order of business.
Paper 462-20, Committee Report, Public Properties. Paper 253-20, Petition Externet, Small Cell Petitions for the following addresses: 6 to 10 Holden Street, 14 Lawrence Street, 297 Medford Street, and 37-39 Park Street.
Councilor O'Malley's motion to receive the committee report. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Oh, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Committee report is received.
Councilor O'Malley for the committee.
So this is the same situation. I believe we also, we also want the same conditions that we set from the previous one. I wasn't there for this portion, but the same, we should probably amend it so that it says with the following language that the equipment will not be installed on any poles that are double poles or adjacent to double poles until National Grid replaces them. And these installations do not include mechanical cooling devices and fans. Same thing, we reviewed it. I would move to amend the paper to say that.
I second your motion to amend.
Okay. On Councilor O'Malley's motion to amend the paper, seconded by Councilor Winslow, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Oh, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
Di Maria, yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Amendment carries 11-0.
So, same spiel. If there's a motion to, I'll make the motion to grant pending my resignation from public properties because I never want to deal with this again.
We have a second on that motion.
I'll second.
On Councilor O'Malley's motion, seconded by Councilor Linehan, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Kamel, yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
Can I say yes, but O'Malley's going to stay on licensing? Yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Petitions are granted 11-0.
Next order of business. Before you say the next order of business, can you pull out Sika's?
Yes, I can.
Councilor Murphy, are you okay with the clerk reading all the licenses bunched together except for Sika's?
I would prefer him do that by class.
Okay.
Okay, so you want me to do all the dealer's license without 422-20, correct?
First of all, I'd like to make a motion to receive the committee report.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do that because he has to read this in a second. So he has to read it first before we.
No, and he can read them all, but then we'll receive the committee report, and then I would like to speak about each different type separately.
Okay. Go ahead, City Clerk.
So I'm reading all, even 422-20, Council President, or by leaving, read them all for now?
Yeah, we're gonna vote for
Gotcha.
them separately.
Okay, I got you. Okay. Paper 286-20, secondhand dealer, 8 AM Design Jewelry, 664 Salem Street. Paper 413-20, Class 1, Absolute Auto Rental and Sales, 495 Broadway. It's a renewal. Paper 414-20, Class 2, AGM Auto Sales, Inc., 160 Eastern Ave, 18 cars, change of address and number of cars. Paper 415-20, Class 2, Auto Bazaar Corp., 17 Charles Street, 21 cars, it's a renewal. Paper 416-20, Class 2, Greenleaf Auto Enterprises, Inc., 28 Broadway, 50 cars, it's a renewal. Paper 417-20, Class 2, Greenleaf Auto Sales, 69 Newland Street, 30 cars, it's a renewal. Paper 418-20, Class 2, Louis Foreign Car Garage, Inc., 191 Salem Street, 2 cars, it's a renewal. Paper 419-20, Class 2, Macmillan Automotive, 388 Eastern Ave, 15 cars, it's renewal. Paper 420-20, Class 2, Quality Auto Sales, 856 Eastern Ave, 0 cars, it's a renewal. Paper 421-20, Class 2, River Auto Sales, Inc., 77 Eastern Ave, 21 cars, it's renewal. Paper 422-20, Class 2, Seekers Automotive, Inc., 1114 Eastern Ave, 2 cars, it's a renewal. Paper 423-20, Class 2, Wentworth Auto Sales, 730 Eastern Ave, Suite 091B, 15 cars, it's renewal. Paper 424-20, Outdoor Parking, AGM Auto Sales, Inc., 135 Eastern Ave, 24 spaces, it's new.
Motion to receive the committee report.
Second.
Paul Murphy's motion to receive the committee report. Call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DeMaria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
It's better for a yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Stika.
Sneaky, yes.
Committee report is received 11-0.
Councilor Murphy for the committee.
Thank you, Madam President. I will start with the class 1, we'll start with the secondhand dealer. It's paper 286-20. Secondhand dealers are people who resell products. When we go through the renewal process or a new process looking at these dealers, not only do we deal with our compliance officers, but we also deal with the police station to make sure they're following all the rules and regulations that are put upon them to report to anything they take in and purchase or put up for sale. This particular dealer has had no problems, and we would ask that this petition be approved by the City Council.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Councilor Murphy's motion to grant this petition, seconded by Councilor Anderson. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DeMaria,
DeMaria, yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Better for a yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sneaky, yes.
License granted 11-0.
The next one we'd like to speak about is 413-20, Class 1. And just for those, for absolute auto rental and seals. For those who are listening, there are 3 different types of dealer licenses. A Class 1 license is actually someone who is granted the ability to sell new vehicles, okay? We have very few Class 1 licenses in Malden. This is a particular group that sells motorcycles or scooters that are above 50 cc's. Once again, it's a renewal. There's been absolutely no issues with this particular license. Our compliance officers have affirmed that, and we would ask that this petition be voted out favorably on the floor this evening.
Councilor Anderson, did you say something?
Second.
On Councilor Murphy's motion, seconded by Councilor Anderson, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DeMaria,
DeMaria, yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Better for a yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sneaky, yes.
License is granted 11-0.
Next order of business.
The next set of licenses that are up here for granting this evening are Class 2 licenses or Class 2 dealers, which basically have the ability to sell used cars. Madam President, did you want to speak at the moment?
I would like to recuse myself from this vote. My father owns Seekers Automotive, and I do not vote on anything that has to do with his license.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that Councilor Seeger is
allowed.
Herself.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it. Oh, good.
Will the clerk will call the roll, please?
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora.
Spatafora, yes.
And Councilor Spatafora is taking the chair for the moment.
I am the
Winslow.
chair. Oh, sorry.
Winslow, yeah.
Councilors, Seekers recused 10-0.
I don't have control, and not that I want it. In terms of the, Clerk, did you read the paper? Did you read the paper now?
I've read them, so Councilor Murphy is separating them. So now she's with all the Class 2 licenses that are on this paper, 463-20.
Okay.
There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 10 licenses.
And we've received the committee report. So these are all licenses that the committee has reviewed. We've reviewed them in compliance with our compliance officers. There were no issues that needed to be addressed. They were all reported out favorably from the committee. And I would ask that these petitions be approved on the floor this evening.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Council Murphy. Seconded by Council Anderson. Any questions for the chairman? Chairwoman? Okay, seeing none, hearing none. On Council Murphy's motion to approve, seconded by Council Anderson. Clerk will call the roll.
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
Di Maria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Yes.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow.
Winslow, yes.
License is approved 10-0.
Motion carries. Just wait for Council Seeger to come back.
Thank you. Next order of business.
You
Councilor.
still have? Still one more license.
Yep.
One like outdoor parking, AGM Auto Sales, 135 Easton Ave. This is actually a new license. And Councilor Anderson, if you wouldn't mind, this is something
Okay.
that you've worked on that's going to solve a number of problems in your area and the abutting area of Councilor Crow. So I'd appreciate it if you would speak on this.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The AGM Auto is currently operating at 135 Eastern Avenue. We have just approved them to relocate to 160 Eastern Avenue, which is across the street. And they wanted to have 2 Class 2 licenses down there, which I said no to, that I would not support that. We've got a number of businesses down there that have very congested parking down there. So they have seen the wisdom of having that location at 135, which for those of you who are familiar with the Century Bank down there on Eastern Avenue side, the dealership there will now, that lot right beside that, which is 135 Eastern Avenue, can be used as an open air lot, not only for AGM to park some of their vehicles in there, not for selling them there, but for storing them there. And some of the other businesses in that area will also be able to rent some of the spaces from AGM. So it really seems to open up some possibilities for easing the congestion down there. And I think it was a good move on everyone's part to look at this and seeing that we've got a congested area. This would help out a bit. And so I'm urging you all to move granting on this outdoor parking license at 135 Eastern Avenue.
on Councilor Anderson's motion, seconded by Councilor Murphy.
Yes, oh, absolutely.
The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DiMaria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
Where?
Yes.
Spatafora,
It's better for a yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
License granted 11-0.
Next order of business.
Paper 467-20, Committee Report, Rules and Ordinances, Paper 261-20, Order. Be it hereby ordained that the following proposed ordinance amendments be enrolled and ordained by the City Council. Section 12.12.030, be it ordained that the Table of Use Regulations, Sections 12.12.030 of the revised ordinances 2020 be amended by establishing a new use category for short-term rentals. Section 12.32.060, be it ordained that Section 12.32.060 of the revised ordinances of 2020 be amended by adding the definition for short-term rental. Be it ordained that Section 12.32.060 of the revised ordinances of 2020 be amended by changing the definition of family. And be it ordained that Section 12.32.060 of the revised ordinances of 2020 be amended by changing the definition of rooming house.
On Councilor Spatafora's motion to receive the committee report, the clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Kamel,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DiMaria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy stepped away from the computer for a minute.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Spatafora,
It's better for a yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Sika, yes.
Paper is received 10-0.
Councilor Spatafora for the committee.
Yeah, this paper, I think, I know everybody was here last week. This paper is a combination of a couple requests, one by the building commissioner and one by the mayor's office, and was supported by many councils. It changes the definition of a family, how many people unrelated can be in inside a household. This does fill in that quote unquote void or crack that we have between our rules and the state rules. And there's also the other part of this paper is also short-term rental. Right, we do have some instances where it has become a little bit of an issue for us to police these, and this created the use category, which allows us now to not allow in any of our areas. And again, this was many discussions. In fact, unrelated parties has been something that's been literally kicked around for probably at least 5 or 6 years in the city of Malden. I think after much needed testimony by the building commissioner Nelson, put my mind at ease, and I think other council members. It did go to the joint ordinance and planning meeting. Planning did weigh in, and they did have some questions about the number of parties, but ultimately did pass it, I believe, 5-4. I think it came out of the planning. It was favorably. It might have been 5-3. I apologize, but I do hopefully hopefully rule this out favorably this evening. Any questions? Happy to answer.
Councilor Condon, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Madam President. How did they change the definition of rooming house? How many people are allowed before it becomes a rooming house that are unrelated?
I think it's
And same thing with the family.
Yeah, it's 5.
5 unrelated people can live in an apartment?
Yep.
Okay, you have a 6th one, then you're a rooming house.
Yeah, but Council Conning, there's a couple things that come in there too. You still need square footage, so you can't have 5 people in an apartment that doesn't have the proper square footage. So that's under the planning. The Board of Health under because that question came up. It doesn't mean that every apartment that can hold 3 individuals can now hold 5. They still need to have the square footage.
Square footage where? In the bedrooms?
Living
the apartment?
Living space. Living space, correct.
Living
Council.
space?
Yep. Yeah, closets don't count. I don't think bathrooms count. It's living space, correct.
And how did the definition of family change?
It used to be 3 and went to 5.
It was 2, actually.
I'm sorry, it was 2. It was 2. We wanted 3. Yeah, it was 2. Thank you. It was 2 and went to 5.
No, 2 went to 4.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got a kid. I got a kid yelling in one ear, and I'm trying to pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, here she
five
comes.
is rooming house.
Sorry.
4 is the upper limit, and then 5 is a rooming house. Not 6 becomes a rooming house. Right? Am I right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought.
Thank you, Council.
I was just trying to text you, Craig.
Okay.
No, I have a young child over here yelling in one ear.
Okay, so.
And the short-term rental is illegal, correct? Is that what
Correct.
you're saying?
So the challenge there, Council, was, and I'll get this one. There was no definition in our ordinance for short-term rental. So what we did was we created that use, and then if you look at our zoning chart, it is not allowed in any one of those areas, because there's been some, and it certainly does cover the Airbnbs, but we do have some situations in certain councils' neighborhoods where they're almost acting like hotels, but renting it out by the day, and there's nothing that really prevents us from going in there because we didn't have a rule preventing it. So now we created the use, and then we don't allow in any of our zoning areas, whether it's residential or commercial.
We can stop the Airbnbs.
I don't want to make false promises, but we can. They will be illegal. I don't know if we can 100% stop them, but yes, they will be illegal.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor O'Malley.
Sorry about that. I've been trying to find, I can't find the language of this particular paper because I was trying to, unfortunately, I was not able to attend the planning board meeting when this was discussed. And I was also not able to attend the ordinance meeting. So I'm going to ask a few questions. So one of the changes is it increases the definition of a family from 2 to 5. And you said it prohibits short-term rentals.
It's 2 to 4.
Oh, 2 to 4.
Yeah, at 5, it turns into a rooming house.
So then, how does this?
5 is state law too, by the way, Council O'Malley, for rooming houses. 5 is the state law.
Thank you.
Yep.
How does this impact, like a bed and breakfast type situation?
Well, there is no bed and breakfast rules and regulations here, so it would fall underneath the not being allowed.
Okay, because the only reason I'm thinking is this, we have a really great business in Malden called Treetops, which is, I think, the only bed and breakfast that we have in our community. I'm assuming that something that's already pre-existing is grandfathered.
I don't know in that situation, Council O'Malley, to be truthfully honest with you.
And that's the only reason why I wanted to really read this before voting on it, only because I wouldn't want to do a circumstance where we somehow make one of, I think one of the coolest businesses in Malden, somehow illegal. I'm assuming it would be grandfathered, but I won't belabor the topic. I see Councilor Linehan has her hand raised, so I'll defer.
Councilor Linehan, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to actually touch on that. I had a chance to speak with Nelson Miller about that because I obviously have heard from the owners of Treetops, and evidently there's not just them they're not the only bed and breakfast, I guess, in the city, but there is a separate designation where they can apparently apply for some type of, they can register with the city. They're not considered an Airbnb, but it's a completely separate process that wouldn't be affected by this change, from what I'm told by Mr. Miller. So having heard that, I do have other concerns that, with completely banning them. Believe me, I live next door to one of the most notorious, horrible short-term rentals that thankfully just sold to a owner occupant, but not unsympathetic to some of the issues with them. But I do think I do hear from constituents who also help pay their mortgage with them. So I do just want to share that. I will be supporting this, but I've had the concerns about Treetops, and then other residents that live near the train and have, felt that it's been a value to them to be able to rent out a room in their house. So I did just want to share that. But in terms of the bed and breakfast, I guess there is a separate designation. You can go to City Hall and register as a B&B, and it's not going to be affected by this.
There's your answer. Any other questions, Counselor O'Malley? And I apologize. I have a young one running
it's
around.
fine.
I'm trying to concentrate. Thank you.
No, I understand.
So five, just to reiterate for everybody, so I get my clear head, 5 is a rooming house, which is by state license. The family is 4. We originally were 2, and we had that void in the middle where there was this gray area where, and Nelson, the building commissioner always says it better, where we actually didn't have any rules to guide us by that. So this will bring us somewhat in not compliance with the state, but this will allow us to address anything between 2 and 5. Essentially, that's how we get to the number 4. I don't know if I froze or Ali froze, but it looks like he's frozen.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm just reading. You guys can continue.
Thank you. Councilor Murphy, you're next.
Thank you, Madam President. I have been struggling with this for a while. I'm not a density person, and I do understand all the different pieces of this. But increasing the family, and I get the fact that there are homes that have multiple bedrooms in them. I just would love to find a better way to define a family. I know it, Councilor Spatafora, as you said, that it's limited by square footage, etc. Once again, it's the enforcement that to me is the key issue in all of this. And going from 2 to 4 for what comprises a family is basically, in my mind, saying, okay, 4 is acceptable, so 5's okay, or 6 is okay. It's kind of like, and I know this might sound a little strange, but it's kind of like, your speed limit's 30. So if a police officer is like looking at the road and they're going 35, they're not going to give them a ticket. You have to get to 40 or 45 to get the ticket. And that's kind of what I feel like we're doing right now. We have problems with overcrowding in a number of these homes. And, those are the types of calls that I get. You know what I mean? We hear about a lot of different calls other councils are getting, but I get there's too many residents in a home. And to increase the number of non-family members, to me, just increases the density in the neighborhoods that we're trying to protect. And I just have not been able to wrap my hands around this. I feel like we're going down a road to comply with the state or comply with building code when we have enacted codes here that are better for us. And I will say, one particular code that Councilor Mel and I have been dealing with for the last couple of weeks is the blasting code. Malden has the tightest blasting code in the state to protect our citizens. It doesn't agree with what everybody else is doing, but it's what's best for us. So I just can't support this. I don't feel in my heart that it's the right way to go. And I probably will be the one lone vote against this, but I just feel the density issue in our city is one of the key issues that we need to really be aware of and focus on and try to protect the neighborhoods. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor DiMaria.
Thank you, Madam President. And my question is, who is going to be enforcing this, or maybe not enforcing, but overseeing this ordinance? Is this the Board of Health? Is this the compliance officer? I just don't know who's going to.
Services. I think it's Nelson. Am I correct?
Well, I think it's a two-part question, Councilor DiMaria. It's Nelson from a building perspective, but the Board of Health already has say over square footage anyway. So I think it's both. I mean, if you have an apartment that has 4 bedrooms and there's 5 people in there, that's a Board of Health violation because of square footage, and then it would probably go to Public Properties Unit. But Nelson Miller would be certainly part of that process. I don't think it's just one.
Okay. All right. So there's a plan who's going to enforce it. Okay, thank you. That was my question.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Do we have a motion to approve this, Councilor Spatafor? Enroll?
I need a motion.
I need to make one.
I make a motion to enroll. Are we doing it all as one big group? I think, the short-term rentals could do separately. You kind of, if we.
Yeah, it's one paper, Council. That's a challenge. Right, Council? Clerk Lucy, this is one paper, right? That was a challenge we had originally. It's one paper. I mean, if there is some dissent or somebody wants to vote against certain ones, we can certainly break it up. I'll entertain that, but it's one paper. That's how it came down, and that's how it went to planning and ordinance. But I certainly don't want to create an issue. So, however the council wants to take it.
Councilor Crowe?
Before I make my motion to actually enroll this, so on the problem properties unit, we have this comes up quite often around overcrowding, not overcrowding, but over too many residents. The problem is there's the health codes, the building codes, the fire codes, they all kind of have a different number, and we ended up in this sort of gray area. So I think it does go to affordable housing matter to changing from 2 to 4, and then 5 becomes that is the most common one at the housing at the moving house number. So if you have 4 and now you have 5, you have to register. So the which has its own, then you can sprinkler. There's some things that if you have 5, they can building commissioner can require and other things that they can't do if it's a different number. So it made perfect sense. It puts things in line, and it kind of closes up those gray areas that for some people are complaining maybe, but when they go out there, there's not a lot that they can do. So that's why I'm in full support of this, and I'll make a motion to enroll.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilor Crow's motion to enroll, seconded by Councilor DiMaria. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Yes.
Kamel,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DiMaria,
DiMaria, yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, no.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, no.
Spatafora,
Spatafora, yes.
Winslow,
Winslow, yes.
Sika.
Vicky, yes.
Paper is enrolled 9 to 2.
Next order of business.
Docket is clear.
Docket is clear. Do we have personal privilege this evening? Councilor Crowe.
I was pretty quick there. So I just wanted to wish everybody a healthy and happy holiday season. We'll be off for a little bit of time before we reconvene. I hope everybody stays safe. They enjoy their time with their families, their immediate families. Do what you can to stop the spread. And I look forward to working with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor DiMaria, you're next.
Thank you. I want to say actually the very same thing as Councilor Crowe. I'd like to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Can I get an amen for 2025?
Amen.
I know, amen.
So everybody please stay safe and we'll see you next year.
Councilor Linehan.
Thank you, Madam President. I too wanted to just wish our community a Merry Christmas to all who celebrate, and of course a Happy New Year as well. Hoping our teachers and our students can get a true rest this winter break. I know it's been a challenging fall with mostly remote learning, and I hope that the kids can look forward to getting together maybe after the new year. And I would say the same thing about my colleagues on the council. I also just wanted to take a moment and thank all of you for being so welcoming to me. This meeting concludes my first year officially on the council, possibly the weirdest first year anyone's ever had. Being in a pandemic and, being in virtual meetings, I'm very much looking forward to getting back together in person. But I did just want to take a chance to thank all of you and, say each and every one of you has taught me something this year, and I look forward to working together in 2021 and beyond. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Anderson.
Well, I'd like to thank Council President Sika for what you have done in leading us over these last 2 years. Yeah, this has been a challenging year for us, this 2020, but it's been a doubly challenging 2 years for all that the city council has gone through with 3 different city clerks and the pandemic and all that's gone on doing this virtual meetings. And somehow, Councilor Sika, you've held it all together, and we'll be saying more when we meet again in January. But I couldn't let this meeting pass by without saying congratulations for what you've done these last couple of years in leading us as the president of the city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councilor Winslow, you're next.
Yes, well, thank you, Councilor Sika, for your leadership over the past 2 years. It has been a tumultuous time in many ways, but I think we continue to work very well as a council, and I look forward to Councilor incoming President Anderson's service as well. So just want to wish everybody a happy holidays and best of luck for 2021. It's got to be better than 2020. And as you're around your smaller family group and as you're breaking bread, I just wanted to send condolences out to the Pantadosi family. I guess John Pantadosi, who was the kind of patriarch before Joe was there, passed away recently. So just wanted to send the best from the city of Malden as we're all breaking some Pantadosi bread at our holiday meal. So best of wishes to everybody.
Councilor Spatafora, you're next.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to start off by saying happy Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates Christmas. Happy New Year. I think all the councils here certainly, we look forward to 2021 like the rest of the country or the world for that matter. It's certainly been an unusual year. I think everybody here is excited to get into New City Hall, like Councilor Nahan said, and actually have a meeting in person. I also want to thank, we also have a new person here who I think has done a marvelous job for the city, Clerk Lucy. Great job. I know it's been a tough year for you as well. I mean, not only learning, getting from being on the council to be behind the council and doing a great job with us in that capacity, but also virtually. And then you throw a monumental presidential election up there in the middle of a pandemic. So congratulations to you and your staff. I'm glad you're here for that. Much appreciated. And I also, too, want to thank the rest of my council members. It's we always don't agree on everything, but I think given what we had to go through this year as a group and doing a quick zag to virtual meetings like all of us, I had to take care of my kids today. It's for school, and my wife usually does that. And I can tell you today was a bad day at the Spatafora house, teaching them on remote learning. So I envy those people as well. But to end it with what Councilor Anderson said, I know at the beginning of the year we always start off with accolades, but I do want to give Councilor Sika a big shout out. Not only, this is her second year, but I think this year in particular, her leadership really came out. Not only when she called me, I think it was in March, and she goes, "I have to go to a meeting right now about this virus thing. I'll call you back." And I said, okay. And she called me back and she says, "Your kids are not going to school for like a while." And I'm like, whatever. And literally, 9 months later, we're here. So we've learned a lot, and she's done a lot of great things behind the scenes, small things that make a lot of people smile. And I'll be honest with you, she turned out to be, the person who didn't speak much her first year. But certainly walks with a big stick. So I want to thank her for her leadership the past 2 years, and certainly look forward to Councilor Anderson's leadership in 2021.
Thank you, Councilor Spatafora. Councilor O'Malley, you're next.
Thank you, Madam President. Just wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy Kwanzaa that's also coming up, and a Happy New Year. I'd also like to congratulate Councilor Anderson for your next term as Council President. Looking forward to working with you. And to piggyback off Councilor Spatafora, Greg Lucy, thank you so much for all the hard work that you've put in. The rest of your team, Carol Ann, Carol Morgan, you guys really pulled off a crazy election. And we know there's been a lot of pressure on clerks across the country, so it doesn't go unnoticed. And the fact that you were able to, bridge a gap for our Asian community and making sure that, their civil liberties and their right to vote and have access to language access was secured. I really appreciate that. I think you'll go down in history as making sure that everyone has equal access. So thank you so much for that.
Let's see, Councilor Kamel, you're next.
Yeah, I'm going to reiterate what everybody says. Merry Christmas and happy Kwanzaa and Happy New Year. And I do want to just express a little bit of utter surprise and shock. Councilor Linehan brought up that we've only been working together for a year. I feel like we've been working together for 5 years.
A long year.
Many reasons, including, as Councilor Spatafora noted, the screaming 5-year-old that we have to wrestle to. Distance kindergarten every morning. And I want to thank all my fellow councilors. Again, as has been said, even through disagreements, you're a great group of people to work with. I can't wait to be in person in the new City Hall with y'all. So, Happy New Year.
Go for a drink too, right, Councilor? We'll go for a drink after.
No comment.
Councilor Murphy, you're next.
Well, Madam President, just don't think you're getting off the hook quite yet. Because this might be our last council meeting of the season, but you're still in charge until January, until the official transaction takes place. So, don't think you're packing up your suitcases and going on vacation. You're still on that phone call every morning with the mayor to see what's going on in the city and make sure we're heading in the right direction. So about 3 more weeks. Anyway, I do, and I think we will all have more to say when we reconvene in January. But, President Sika, you've done an admirable job of seeing you grow so much in the last 24 months, and just so proud of, the leader that you've become and how you've brought us forward. And there's so many things to talk about. I mean, COVID obviously, has added a whole other element of how we need to work together. But I think one of the biggest things is Pleasant Street is reopened. I mean, City Hall, even though the city has not gotten to embrace all of the effort that we all, including yourself, through your leadership, and Mayor Christensen's leadership, we have done what no one's been able to do in 40 years, and that is reopen Pleasant Street and create a new City Hall. So that is, to me, one of the most amazing things that has been accomplished over the last few years. So, as I said, we'll talk about many more things in January when the baton gets passed and we welcome Councilor Anderson back to the presidency. But between now and then, I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope everyone's safe and enjoys the season as much as they can. And even if they have to Zoom with their family, that they at least get to spend some time, with family members and celebrate the holidays. So thank you and good night.
Thank you. Councilor Condon.
Thank you, Council President. I'll be short and sweet. Wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Have a safe and healthy New Year. I watched you, Jay Dean, go from not speaking, but I knew you were always thinking. All right. And I was waiting for that breakout year. Well, we've had 2 of them. Done a great job. You are a tough one, for sure. Come from good stock. So thank you for the job you did. Ryan, thank you for showing a lot of class by making it unanimous for Neil. I'm sure he appreciates that. And thank you for pledging to work together. We all should pledge that. Right now, it's an angry world, but we got to be happy in life. It could be worse. You could be 71 years old, you and your wife, and get a chocolate lab who drags you down the stairs when you take them out to go to the bathroom. So believe me, it could be worse.
Paul, that's a tough act to follow, really.
Ooh.
Your poor wife. Okay, so I guess it's my turn. There's no other light.
Yeah.
I have a few things that I want to say, so I'm going to take the time to, just say them. So I guess it's only fitting that after the year that we've endured, that the council president vote came down to me. I've heard some talk that the so-called tradition dictates who we should be voting for council president, and that tradition should override everything else. Well, I've done a little bit of homework, and I just wanted everyone to know that for those that were watching at home, there was actually well over 10 councilors that have never had the chance to become a council president during their council terms. One of them waited 16 years to become the council president. So although you did not make council president this year, Councilor O'Malley, there seems to still be hope for you in the future. Oh, I lost my place. Hold on. So I can assure you that the only tradition on this council as it relates to the council president is picking that person who is best positioned to lead our council for the next year, taking into account all factors. That is how it has been, and that is how it should always be. This year has been a year like no other, with the pandemic, the issues of race being at the forefront, and a country divided politically. The city council, I believe, needs a steady and experienced hand and a proven ability to listen to all sides and should be a council president for us all. This council needs someone with an even temperament. This council needs someone who can relate some of the challenges that are going on in our society today. And finally, this council needs to be willing to show that diversity is not just something we support when we like the outcome. So I just want to congratulate Councilor Anderson for becoming the next council president. I'm sure you're going to be amazing. And Ryan, all hope is not lost just yet. Councilor Coleman was the councilor that took 16 years to become the council president. So it's not something that has just happened recently that we've decided to change tradition. There's well over 10 councilors that never had the chance to be council president. So don't give up hope just quite yet. And on that note, I'm going to end this year with a few words and a brief slideshow, once again, highlighting the accomplishments of our 2020 edition of the Malden City Council. First, I want to thank you all for giving me this opportunity to serve. As all those who have served as president before can attest, this role is a lot more difficult than it looks. And while perhaps it hasn't always been pretty along the way, I am unbelievably proud of the work we did as a body under these presidential circumstances. We have moved Malden forward in a measurable way and really set this city up for success. I thank you all for your support over the past year, past two actually, your patience, your perseverance, and your love of Malden. I'm going to share my screen and highlight just some of what I thought were our more memorable accomplishments.
Sleigh bells ring, are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening, a beautiful sight. We're happy tonight, walking in the winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird, here to stay is a new bird. He sings a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that he is Parson Brown. He'll say, are you married? We'll say, but that you can do the job when you're in town. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to face unafraid plans that we've made, walking in a winter wonderland. Are you listening? Snow is glistening, a beautiful sight. We're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. On the wing is a blue bird. If this day is a new bird, he sings a love song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow, we can build a snowman and pretend that he's a circus clown. We'll have lots of fun with Mr. Snowman. Yes, until the other kiddies knock him down. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire. Face unafraid, the plans that we make, walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see Counselor Anderson's video.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's just a few things. I think we did great work this year, you know, considering everything that's gone on in the world. So I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy Kwanzaa. Our Kanara was delivered to City Hall today, finally. It was a little late. So we're going to get that up in the lobby of City Hall and try to do something on Saturday to celebrate that holiday with our residents. I see Councilor Anderson has his hand up again. So before we make a motion to adjourn, Councilor Anderson, did you want to speak?
No, I've had enough. I'll wait until January to speak.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I will
I'll
second
second
it.
I'm gonna say one thing if I may, because my hand's not raised, but
Vote the question.
I'm just gonna say it 9:41, like that's great that played, but most residents have gone to sleep by now. I think that needs to play at our next meeting in January, so the residents can actually see what transpired. So that would be confident in the call. So
There we go. There we go.
Shouldn't we be recessing to the call of the chair? Since we
yes.
have-
Okay.
You could. It doesn't hurt if something does come up.
Okay.
I mean,
Recess.
not like anything would happen in 2020.
You never know.
Exactly. That's my point, Counselor.
Councilor Anderson's motion to recess at the call of the chair. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson,
Anderson, yes.
Mel,
Yes.
Condon,
Condon, yes.
Crow,
Yes.
DiMaria,
Yes.
Linehan,
Linehan, yes.
Murphy,
Murphy, yes.
O'Malley,
O'Malley, yes.
Betafora,
It's better for you. Yes.
Winslow,
He's on mute.
Winslow.
No,
He's on
Winslow,
mute.
yes.
Okay. Sika,
Speaker, yes.
meeting is recessed to the call of chair, 11-0.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Merry Christmas.
all.
Good night,
Good night.
everybody.
Good night.